Lovely viewers, today we have the honor of hosting His Excellency Ambassador Arthur Lang from the State of Israel, who is in the kingdom leading a delegation of business people who are here to deepen ties with the kingdom. Your Excellency, welcome to Swazi TV and to the Kingdom of Swaziland.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you, Your Excellency. Our first question, Your Excellency, will be the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Swaziland recently visited the State of Israel, where he met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. How do you think that visit strengthened the ties between the two countries that dates back to 1968?
Well, it was a great visit. And I was fortunate enough to be there with Prime Minister Dlamini and his delegation. And what became clear is we're two small countries, both of us smaller than Kruger Park in South Africa. But we have lots of things to do together. And as you say, we have a long-standing friendship, unbroken, since Swaziland became independent. And we have lots to do together. And under instructions from my Prime Minister and yours, I am here this week, all week long, to try to find more ways to bring our two countries closer together.
Thank you, Excellency. As you are mentioning that you are here to find ways of how you can deepen the ties between the two countries, and you are leading a delegation of business people. Can you please tell us which areas of focus are part of this delegation?
Yeah, so when Prime Minister Dlamini was in Israel, he kept talking about trying to encourage Israeli companies to come visit the kingdom. Again and again and again, and saying that there was investment opportunity and that there was a convergence of skills between our two countries. And so we decided to concentrate on three areas. The first is agriculture and water management, where Israel is a country that we've lived in drought without very much water since the time of the Bible. Right? If you know the story from Genesis, of Jacob sending his sons to Egypt, to Africa, to find food because there was drought, there was famine. This has been the situation in the Holy Land, in Israel, since then. And so we've learned technologies to grow food, to grow vegetables, to take care of our water in a very advanced way over the years. And so this is one area, food security. The second area is healthcare. And it's obvious that that Swaziland has so many challenges, whether it's HIV or TB, and Israel has experience in some of those areas, and so some companies are in that sphere. And the third, and also interesting area, is the area of technology, especially in the area of cybersecurity. You know that everybody has these smartphones these days, but it's a risk, these smartphones. Bad people can come and they can impact the safety of individuals or countries if we don't have the right defense to protect ourselves in the digital world. Right? If bad people try to get over the computers of Swazi TV, could be dangerous, or of airports, or of highways. And so Israel lives in a very, very complicated, sometimes tough neighborhood. And so we had to learn how to protect ourselves, not just in fighting traditional wars. We know how to do that. We want peace, but we know how to defend ourselves. We are a fortress, right? You say in your country,
Sinaba.
Yes, we are a fortress. This is something we have in common, Swaziland and Israel. We know how to protect ourselves. So we have to do it the old-fashioned way, but we also have to do it in modern 21st century ways. And so we've brought experts in the area of cyber security.
What are you expecting as the delegation from Israel, and what can the locals expect from that business seminar, which will be held obviously tomorrow, Wednesday?
Well, that's right. So all of these companies from these three sectors have come to Swaziland, and I know that leaders from your business community and from government will be there, and the two sides will introduce each other. They'll speak a little bit about what they know, about what value they can add to each other. And then hopefully, after the speeches, and then we get the government guys like me out of the way, the business people will meet, we'll talk, will develop strategies, and hopefully more of the experience that Israel has and more of the experience that Swaziland has will come together, and they'll do business together, and they'll bring some of Israel's experience in food security, in healthcare, and in technology here to the kingdom.
Interesting, Your Excellency. You have narrowed the areas of focus down to 3. The Kingdom of Swaziland has put as a priority addressing the challenge of food security. And you are talking of having lived in drought since the time of the Bible. What strategies can you offer to Swaziland in addressing this challenge of food security so that it achieve its goal of having a food secured country?
Well, I'll give you an example. One example is how a farmer uses water to grow his or her crop. Now, the traditional way is firstly we pray for rain, and that's good. It's good to pray for rain. Mm-hmm. But sometimes God gives you a little, sometimes he gives you a lot. And then the traditional farmer just takes whatever water comes and floods the crop. And whatever grows, grows. And we thank God for whatever grows. In Israel, because we don't have so much rain, we've developed a technology called drip irrigation. Meaning, you take a pipe, you put it with the plants, and the water goes through the pipe and only comes where the plant is growing. So you're using much less water, and the water goes only where you need it. And so it's much, much more efficient. And so the crop also turns out to be a better crop because the water is going exactly where it needs and isn't wasted. And so a farmer uses less water and grows a better crop. And so the company in Israel that founded drip irrigation, that invented it 50 years ago, is called Nitafim. They are one of the companies in this delegation, and they are already working in Swaziland. The Royal Swazi Sugarcane Company,
yes,
the large part of its sugar crop is irrigated using these pipes from Nitafim. And so the Prime Minister, Dlamini, said when he was meeting with people in Israel, I heard him say that during the drought, the crop of sugarcane was saved because of irrigation. Mm-hmm. What would be more wonderful than having more and more farmers here in Swaziland take advantage of this technology and have a better crop, whether they are growing flowers or sugarcane or avos. They should have a more efficient use of water, and hopefully this technology will be available to more and more people in Swaziland.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Speaking about drought, our country was recently hit by drought for the past 2 years, and it had challenges of water even in the capital city. What advice or technologies can you bring in which the country can use to save water for averting situations whereby when it's affected by drought, there is a challenge of water even in the busiest area?
Well, we talked about one. The biggest user of water in most countries is agriculture. And so if we can get agriculture to use less water, there's more water for the rest of us. But in Israel, we have other techniques. Like, for example, is we teach people that water is precious and that you have to only use a little bit. Like, I'll give it just a most simple home example. When you brush your teeth at night, you turn on the water to wet your toothbrush, turn off the spout. You don't need it to let it run, or take a shorter shower. And so people at home can save water. But also, one of the things we do in Israel is we desalinate water. Israel is by the sea, by the Mediterranean Sea. And so what we do is we treat through a scientific technology called reverse osmosis. We treat the water from the ocean, we take the salt out, and we drink it. And so we have more water available than just the water that comes from rain. Also, we recycle water. So you use the water at home to brush your teeth or to take a shower. The water needs to be treated, cleaned, and then we use it for agriculture. So we use it a second time. Israel does that more than any country in the world, recycling water. So by desalination and recycling, suddenly we have much, much more water. And so we have enough. And so drought in Israel has been defeated. We create through science, through technology, through careful use and saving every drop, we have enough water. Swaziland could do this too.
Very great, Your Excellency. Coming to the health sector, it's another area that the Kingdom of Swaziland has put as a priority. What areas of focus is the delegation bringing as far as the health sector is concerned?
Well, this morning, I was lucky enough, I got to go visit the Baylor Clinic in Mababane.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Which is a beautiful, beautiful clinic that takes care of children with HIV or with TB. And we donated this new type of wheelchair. You know, the wheelchairs tend to be expensive, right? They could cost 40 or 4,000 or 5,000 rand each. And usually they're made for grown-ups. You know, when kids have to, a little kid has to fit into a big wheelchair. So this Israeli guy, this innovator, named Pablo Kaplan, made a new wheelchair, a small one for kids out of plastic that only costs 12,000 rand. Much more affordable. And so we donated 12 of these to the Baylor Clinic this morning and showed how innovating for the developing world, not just for Europe or America, Israeli innovation is relevant for Swaziland. And so it was a very big blessing for me to get to visit the Baylor Clinic and to get to share some of Israel innovation.
Okay, you go ahead, Your
Thanks.
Excellency.
So that's one example. Another example is, you know, that, and I know that the Swaziland government is involved in this, that men who have been circumcised have a much lower risk to get infected by HIV. But it's a challenge to get men to be circumcised. There are not enough doctors. It's not always safe enough. There's not enough sterile environment and access to the right way to do it safely. And so, understandably, men are careful about this. And so an Israeli company invented a tool called Prepex. It's a small plastic tool, doesn't need surgery, no knives, and safely can circumcise adult males in a way that's minimally painful, not dangerous, and will allow for thousands and thousands of Africans to have a lower risk of attracting HIV. And so this is another one of the companies that's here this week with me this week. One additional one is a company that tests donated blood. You know that sometimes we go to the blood society and we give blood, right? They take blood out of us so that people who need it can use it. But one of the challenges is, how do you know that my blood is good? Right? If I have a disease, you don't want to put my blood into you.
No, certainly
We
not.
want to make sure that my blood is safe. So you have to test it. And so there's an Israeli company called Ilex that has developed technology that can test my blood, find out if I have HIV, or if I have any other viruses that could hurt you before, God forbid, you're coming into a hospital to get better, but instead you get worse. And so the blood service in Swaziland has just reached an agreement with this company to test blood. And people need to donate blood. It's good. It saves lives. But it has to be safe, right?
Yes.
We have to make sure that the person who gives it, and equally important, the person who gets it, gets good blood. And so this company will help the blood service of Swaziland do this better.
No, thank you so much, Your Excellency. Well informed. Coming to the area of technology, you mentioned the issue of cyber crimes, our cell phone not being that much safe, and you need to protect yourself. What area of expertise are you bringing as far as technology is concerned? Because the country has also introduced this building a real science and technology park, and we already have an information technology park.
Well, firstly, as you say, right, we know that there's a basic infrastructure here in Swaziland for innovation, for technology. Israel is often known as Startup Nation. We're very, very famous in the world for new technologies. And I talked about some of them, from wheelchairs to blood testing to helping to prevent HIV infection. And because we have this experience in innovation, we think that there's possibilities here in Swaziland for partnership, for companies to work together, and for some of Israel's experience, especially in the area of cyber, to help countries make sure that their core infrastructures, again, whether it's TV stations or banks or airports, are protected. Because there are bad people out there. Not in Swaziland. Everybody's nice in Swaziland. But you know what I mean.
Thank you.
But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, Your Excellency.
And so we used to only have to protect our people from bombs, from invaders. And we still do. We still have to keep our people safe. But now, in these days, in these modern times, our smartphone can be dangerous. You know that in my government job, when I go to meetings in Israel, they don't let us bring cell phones into the meetings. And some people joked it's to make sure that we're not on Facebook during the meeting. But that's not the reason. The reason is that on a cell phone, somebody else, if they get into my phone, they can hear my conversation. They can use the camera to see what we're doing. And I'm not saying not to use technology. We have to all use technology. It's a blessing. But we have to make sure that technology doesn't put us at risk. And so Israel has developed some capacities that we've found that around the world, countries have been, and businesses have been using, and to protect their customers, protect their clients, protect their public from the dangers of the 21st century.
Well understood, Your Excellency. Israel is also ranked amongst the best or leading countries in terms of being competitive, and the government of Swaziland is encouraging the country to be competitive because it's good for the economy. What strategies have you used in Israel which can be applied in Swaziland so that we are also as competitive and ranked amongst the best?
Well, I hope you can be, because there's no reason not to. And especially small countries are able to make changes quickly. And so I think that's an advantage that you have. One of the things we do is we invest a lot in research and development. Israel is ranked #1 in the world at the percentage of our GDP for research and development, about 4%. It's a huge number. So that if somebody comes up with a new idea for an application, or for some sort of medical issue, or for agriculture. And the truth is, it doesn't matter what it is. The gentleman who came up with a new idea for children's wheelchairs came to the Israeli government and said, help me fund my new idea. And the government came and gave him support. Another example is, here I am in Swaziland. Government, right?
Yes.
I'm promoting Israeli export. I'm bringing with me these Israeli companies, giving them opportunities to promote themselves in not the world's biggest market, right? Anybody could take someone to China or to the United States. Everybody knows about that. But we in the Israeli government think there are opportunities in Swaziland. And so if these Israeli companies get a chance to do more business, well, in the end, that pays my salary, right? I get paid. It's my job as Israel's ambassador to Swaziland and South Africa and Lesotho is to build more opportunities for us. And so I think that those are the kinds of things that the Israeli government is doing that I think that easily a country like Swaziland could do too.
Okay, thank you, Excellency. In terms of, in the area of trade, which areas do you think can be strengthened in terms of trade between the two countries?
Well, I think it's obvious. We've been talking about it. The 3 areas of the companies that we've brought are priority areas that both your government put at the top: agriculture, food security, health, and technology. And coincidentally, they're areas that we're good at. And so, excuse me, Israel's not a car manufacturer, right? In South Africa, they have factories to build Toyotas and BMWs. We don't do that in Israel. But we do build the technologies that go into the cars. In Israel, an Israeli company developed technology for automated driving cars. Now, today, we still drive our own cars, right? But in the not too distant future, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years at the most, Cars are going to drive themselves. Now, it sounds like I'm talking out of the movies, but it's true. And so an Israeli company called Mobileye developed technology for this. And they were just bought last month by the big American giant Intel, that make processors for every laptop computer in the world just about. They bought this Israeli company for 200 billion rand, 15 billion US dollars. Crazy amount of money. But this is the next technology. And so even though we're not in the auto industry in Israel, we don't have our own car, right? A Mercedes-Benz is from Germany, and a Chevrolet is from the United States, and a Toyota is from Japan. There's no car from Israel, like there's no car from Swaziland.
Mm.
But we've discovered a way that Mobileye, with Intel, will be a key part of the auto industry in the years going forward.
Mm. Sounds quite interesting, Your Excellency. Well, just maybe as a way of closing, what can you say to the business community of Swaziland as you bring these opportunities from health, agriculture, and technology?
Well, I hope that we find more ways of hookups, of matches between Israel and Swaziland. I think that we are obviously friendly countries. My country is a Jewish country. Your country is mostly Christian.
Yes.
We both are connected to the Bible and to faith. We have a friendship that, as we talked about, goes back to the time of independence. We want to share with each other. We have lots of ways. You are a window into Africa. Israel has been spending more and more energy trying to make friends across the African continent. And Swaziland is the chair of SADC these days.
Yes.
And our friendship will help both of us.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. That was His Excellency, the Ambassador of the State of Israel, Excellency Arthur Lang, who was with us having an interview. He is leading a delegation of business people from the State of Israel who are in the country to find ways in which they can strengthen or deepen ties in areas of trade, be it government or person to person. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your time.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
Thanks very much.